7 rules you must follow or die at Ravenwood Motel. Part 1. The Arrival. If you ever find yourself driving down Route 77 past midnight, don't stop at Ravenwood Motel. That was the first line of a post I stumbled upon while doom-scrolling a late-night horror forum. The thread was buried beneath endless creepypastas and urban legends, but something about that name, Ravenwood Motel, clung to my mind like a bad omen. I was 3 hours into a long overnight drive, trying to outrun both a storm and my past. My phone was nearly dead, GPS signal flickering in and out, and I hadn't seen another car or gas station for miles. The highway was swallowed in darkness, the kind so thick it felt like the world ended just beyond the reach of my headlights. Then I saw it. A flickering neon sign pierced the blackness ahead. Ravenwood Motel, vacancy. I pulled in without thinking. My stomach twisted the moment my tires crunched over the gravel lot. The building looked like it hadn't seen a renovation since the 70s. Faded red paint, broken security light, and an eerie quietness that made my skin crawl. A man stood at the front desk inside. Tall, impossibly pale, with sunken eyes and an emotionless face. No smile, no greeting. He just slid a dusty guest book toward me. One night, his voice sounded dry, like paper tearing. I hesitated, then nodded. What choice did I have? The rain was starting, and the storm was just minutes away. As I scribbled my name, he slid a yellowed, crumpled sheet of paper across the counter. "Read these rules carefully," he said, tone flat. "You'll want to follow them for your own good." I picked it up. There were 7 rules, typed in faded ink. Do not leave your room between 2:13 a.m. and 3:33 a.m. 2. If you hear scratching at your door, do not open it. 3. Ignore the man in room 6 if you see him staring at you from his window. 4. Do not answer the motel phone after midnight. 5. If you find a tooth on your pillow, leave immediately. 6. Never look into the mirror in the hallway after 3 a.m. 7. Whatever happens, never, ever stay a second night. I smirked. Was this some messed up gimmick? A way to scare out-of-town visitors? But there was something about that man's eyes, the way they seemed to follow me as I turned toward my room, that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. Room 7. The key was cold to the touch. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The air smelled of mildew and something faintly metallic. The curtains were drawn tight, and a small lamp flickered in the corner. On the bed was a single pillow, and as I sat down, I heard it, the faintest sound. Scratch, scratch, at my door. And I froze. It was only 11:54 p.m. Part 2. The scratching sound. 11:54 p.m. I sat frozen at the edge of the bed, eyes locked on the rotting door. That faint scratch, scratch, scratch was back. Steady, persistent, like sharp nails dragging against ancient wood. I clutched the crumpled sheet of motel rules. Rule number 2 screamed in my head. If you hear scratching at the door, do not open it. 6 minutes until midnight. And then, as if on cue, came the knock. Thud, thud, thud. Open up, a voice whispered. I couldn't tell if it was male or female. It sounded distant, warped, like it wasn't coming from this side of reality. I gripped the note tighter, refusing to move. At exactly 12 a.m., the old rotary phone on the nightstand started ringing. Shrill, violent, unrelenting. I felt my stomach drop. Rule number 4. Do not answer the phone after midnight. The ringing clawed at my nerves, filling the room like a siren in a dead town. I stared at it, my hand trembling, until the scratching stopped, and at 12:03 a.m., the phone fell silent. The room plunged into suffocating silence. I forced myself to breathe, double-checked the lock, pulled the curtains tight, and lay back down, fully dressed. But at 2:10 a.m., minutes before the forbidden hour, I heard the sharp crack of glass breaking from outside in the hallway. Room 6. I remembered rule number 3. If you see the man from room 6 staring at you through your window, do not acknowledge him. Curiosity gnawed at me. I edged towards the window and slowly parted the curtain. And there he was, a tall man in a soaked trench coat, hair plastered to his face, standing outside room 6. I couldn't see his eyes, but somehow I knew he was staring straight at me. I let the curtain drop, heart hammering in my chest. At 2:13 a.m., a wave of cold air rushed through the room. The light bulb flickered overhead. I knew then. I couldn't leave this room now, not until dawn. Ravenwood Motel had locked itself around me, and I was its prisoner for the night. Part 3. The Forbidden Mirror. 2:15 a.m. The room felt heavier now, like the walls themselves were leaning inward. The old TV in the corner switched on by itself. Static, buzzing loud in the dead silence. White noise filled the room. I grabbed the rules sheet again, scanning desperately for any mention of this. And there it was. Rule number 5. If the television turns on by itself, do not turn it off. Do not look at your reflection in the screen. I swallowed hard, backing away. But curiosity is a cruel thing. I glanced at the screen, and there I was. Only it wasn't quite me. The reflection smiled. I wasn't smiling. Its eyes were sunken, black pits stretching endlessly. And then it lifted a hand and pressed it against the inside of the screen. Just one. I refused to look at it. refused to move. 2:33 a.m. A foul, rotting stench seeped into the room. A cold, clammy presence filled the space. The doorknob rattled. Then rule number 6 surfaced in my head. At 2:33 a.m., do not hide under the bed. I didn't plan to. But where could I go? The bathroom? The closet? Suddenly, a knock came from inside the closet. 3 knocks. I froze. There wasn't supposed to be anyone in there. Then a voice, hoarse, strained, impossibly close, whispered from the other side. You broke rule number 2. My throat tightened. No, I hadn't. I never opened the door. The knob began to turn. I grabbed the motel key from the nightstand, ready to bolt for the hallway, but then remembered. Rule number 7. If you leave your room between 3 and 4 a.m., you won't be the one to return. And the clock read 2:59 a.m. 1 minute left. Part 4. The wrong visitor. 3 a.m. The clock clicked over. The knocking stopped. The room fell into a suffocating stillness, like the air itself refused to move. The TV static hissed steadily. I kept my eyes fixed on the door, expecting it to burst open. But nothing happened. Instead, a soft knock came from the window. 4 gentle taps. And then a voice. Calm, familiar. Hey, it's me. Let me in. I forgot my key. It was Daniel's voice. But Daniel had left hours ago. I watched him drive off. My heart pounded against my ribs. I checked the sheet of rules again. There wasn't a rule about voices at the window, but there was a note scribbled in shaky handwriting at the bottom. If someone you know knocks after 3 a.m., it isn't them. The knock came again, more impatient this time. I crept toward the window. The curtain billowed slightly. Through a small gap, I could see a face, pale, grinning too wide, eyes glassy and wrong. It looked like Daniel, but something in its expression was empty, predatory. Then it spoke again, perfectly mimicking his tone. Come on, man. It's freezing out here. My stomach twisted. I stepped away from the window, refusing to respond. The grin on the thing's face stretched even wider, lips cracking at the corners. 3:12 a.m. A blood-curdling screech tore through the room. The TV screen flashed, the lights flickered, and the thing at the window began pounding harder, its face pressing against the glass, leaving a smear of dark, viscous fluid. The room phone rang again. This time, 2 rings. And rule number 4 flashed in my head. If the phone rings twice at night, answer it immediately. It's the only way out. I hesitated, then lunged for the phone. Room 103. Listen to me carefully. A raspy female voice on the other end. It's not done with you yet. Check the mirror. The line went dead. I turned slowly toward the bathroom mirror, and in the reflection, standing right behind me, was another version of myself, smiling. 3:13 a.m. Part 5. Rule number 7. Must never be broken. The reflection of myself in the mirror didn't move the way I did. It just smiled. Its eyes pitch black, its grin too wide. And as I backed away, it stepped forward, inside the mirror. I grabbed the sheet of rules again with trembling hands. My eyes darted to the last line. Rule number 7. At no point should you confront your reflection after 3 a.m. If it notices you, you won't leave Ravenwood Motel alive. Too late. The figure inside the mirror pressed a hand against the glass. A hairline crack spread from its palm. And then, in a voice low and gravelly, it whispered, "You broke the rule." The temperature in the room dropped instantly. Frost spread across the mirror's edges. Behind me, the door rattled. The thing outside hadn't left. 3:14 a.m. Suddenly, the bathroom light flickered and died. Darkness swallowed the space. I bolted for the room door. Rule number 5, be damned. But as I grabbed the handle, another rule flashed in my head. Never open the door after 3 a.m., no matter what you hear. Another pounding knock. A chorus of voices outside. Daniel's voice, my mother's voice, even my own voice. All calling out, "Open up." The air felt alive. Something ancient, malevolent, watching. The TV, still stuck on static, started showing images. A grainy video of myself asleep. A dark shape looming over my bed in the footage. And then the screen glitched, showing a shot of me standing exactly where I was now, watching the TV. A figure behind me. I turned. The mirror figure was out, standing in the middle of the room. Its face shifted. Now my face, then Daniel's, then something inhuman. And then it spoke. Voice layered with 100 others. Time's up. 3:15 a.m. A final line appeared on the rule sheet, written in fresh, wet ink. There's no rule number 8. The walls began bleeding. The thing rushed at me. I blacked out. If you think you could survive Blackwood Forest, tell me in the comments. But remember, never break the rules. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because next time might be your turn.